Hi there, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be testing out the facelifting makeup technique. This has gone viral on TikTok and Instagram. It's just basically a different placement of the way you put your products on the skin and the way you blend them upward to get a little bit more of a lifted effect, and it's just supposed to slightly lift up all your features. So I have my computer and I'm gonna be following step by step how to do this. We'll see if it makes a difference. So let's try it out. I'm gonna get started off by prepping the base. I'm using MAC Strobe Cream and then the Say Glowy Star Glow Glowy Super Gel in Star Glow. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Mix them together in my fingertips. And then we're just gonna apply this all over the skin, take it right under the eyes, all over, just to get a nice glowy base. And I also really love how strobe cream is nice and moisturizing. And then for my base, I'm gonna be using Luminous Silk Foundation in 7.75 and then the Fenty Ease Drops in 12. I like how these cut foundation in half just a bit so that it's not quite as full coverage. So I do about half a pump of foundation and then a little bit more of the Ease Drops. I'm just gonna mix it up on the back of my hand, apply that to the skin, because I don't want anything too full coverage, but at the same time, you know, still got some residual hyperpigmentation. So you can see the Ease Drops really cut the coverage of the foundation without making it look too heavy, but I still get coverage where I need it. Just to conceal some of the discoloration on the skin, I'm gonna use the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin in 3.6. And this is really nice for extra coverage wherever you need it. So I've got a lot of discoloration around my nose and then around my mouth. Also just a couple pimples. And then I just use the little concealer end of the brush and blend out that concealer. And then just to hide the redness around my nose, I'm concealing with that as well, the added coverage. This lip balm is pilling up in the corners of my mouth and it looks disgusting. I don't know what that was about, but I didn't notice it, so I hope the first few minutes of this video I don't just have like white sticky stuff from that balm all over my face. I'm also just going to quickly fill in my brows. I'm using Urban Decay Brow Blade, and this one's in Dark Drapes. So I'm just going to fill these in. I'm using the ink stain side first. First step is gonna be the lifting concealer. But I'm gonna use a lighter shade of concealer. This is in the shade Custard, and typically I use the shade Ginger. So this is like my winter shade. It's when my skin's a little bit more fair. And what you want to do is conceal right from the outer corner and go upward. Concealer right in this part of the eye, the darkest part of the eye, because I do have some shadows there. So I'm happy you can put concealer there. And then some people actually do a line down this way. So I'm gonna try that because I liked the effect of that. And then you're basically going to want to avoid all of this area. So instead of doing, you know, the triangular shape that we all love because it really gives you that beamed up look, we're gonna avoid that. I'm gonna put just a touch right here because I am kind of dark in that spot, and then you do right under the nose to add a little bit of brightness there. And then I'm also gonna take it on the, like right under my lip and go upward. So like that. Where is my reference photo? Okay, yes, that looks correct. So I'm gonna wait a moment for this to get a little bit tacky because that's what I like to do. I don't like to blend out my concealer when it's a little bit too fresh. So now I'm gonna blend this out. And when we're blending, we wanna be doing upward motion. So I'm using a Mario EF1. It's nice and soft, and I feel like I'll get a good amount of softness as I'm blending. And then just blending upward and back into the hairline. So we're basically just actively blending upward. This part I'm like, I don't really know how to blend this correctly. So I'm just gonna do the same thing. Blend in a slightly upward motion, but try not to drag it too far around my face. Okay, and then for this part, which is the part that I really don't want to screw up, you want to keep the concealer for the most part where you've placed it and just softly blend it. And if I feel like it needs a little bit of extra help, I just take my finger because it's a little bit warmer so I can heat up that product. I don't know how I feel about this already. Like, I don't really like the way there's so much darkness right there. I don't know. All right, so I'm gonna quickly set all of this down. I'm using the Kosas Pillowy Cloud Set. And I just want to get this concealer locked down so that it doesn't move, because that's kind of the whole point of it. You wanna make sure it doesn't move around. For contour, what you're supposed to do is just contour even higher up to give it even more lift. So typically I put my contour like right about here. So for this, we'll go a little bit higher. We'll go like right here, and you're not gonna take the contour down towards the center of the face quite as much. We're gonna keep it a little bit back and lifted. So I'm gonna use Benefit Hoola, and then I'm also gonna use a smaller brush. It's one of the Sephora Coach brushes. And I like how this is a little bit tinier so I can have some more control with it. So I'm just gonna go, like I said, I usually go here, so we'll go right here. Just to give it a little bit more lift. And just do like a light blend. This contour is honestly almost in highlight territory for me. So really high up. I'm gonna look straight ahead so I can try to match these as best as possible. And just softly take it more towards the center, but being careful not to go overboard. And then I'm also gonna take just a little bit down the sides of my nose. And then same thing goes for blush. We're gonna put it really high up and further back on the cheek. I've seen some of the tutorials or the reels, and people are putting it like right here. I don't want to go that crazy with it right now. I think it would probably look the best like almost grazing that contour line, so really high up but not in highlighter area. So I'm going to use this one from NARS. It's Intensely. And then just picking it up on a little blush brush. And I'm going to lightly tap this right about here and just slowly build up the color, but avoiding the apple of the cheek. Before I forget, let's put a little bit of bronzer on the eyelid. So for highlight, I'm gonna use NARS Fort de France, and I'm gonna use a super tiny highlighting brush. This is the e.l.f. Fluffy Eye Blender. I'm just picking it up like this, and I'm gonna be a little bit more precise and try to highlight just right on top of my cheekbone. And the reason I want to use a really tiny brush is so I can get as precise as possible and not accidentally do a little bit too much. And I'm also going to try to blend it back as well. Take it right under the brow bone. I'm going to put it right on top of the arch of the brow. A little bit more lift right there. Okay, I actually feel like once you start putting the highlight on, you really start seeing a difference. I actually feel like it's lifting the high points of my face. I'm going to put a little bit right on the center of my eye. To me, there's just a little bit of patchiness right in this area, so I'm going to take a little bit of face powder. I'm using a deeper shade of Kosas Cloud Set. This one is in Cushiony. So I'm gonna use this on a fluffy brush from Hourglass to hopefully just blend out some of this part of the face without messing anything up. Now I'm gonna try to lift the eyes. So I'm gonna use shadow, and I'm gonna start with this shade. It's called Deep Dive. It's like this dark shade from the Natasha Denona bronze palette, and I'm going to just pick it up on a little pointy brush. I'm gonna start right on the outer corner of my eye, but above that concealer. You can faintly see the brightness of the concealer, so to keep that lift from the concealer, I'm gonna go right above it, just so I don't interfere with that. And then take it to the lash line, go a little bit in an upward motion, and then take the other side of the brush and just blend this out a touch. I feel like a little bit of liquid eyeliner would help too, to just lift the outer corner. So just super subtle. I'm putting a tiny bit like right on the outer corner of the eye. And doing that. And we can even take just like a little eyeshadow brush with some highlight on it and put that right there, just to lift up the outer corner. Now I also want to make sure that I lift up my brows to help get that lifted look, so I'm going to use the Kosas Air Brow, and I'm just going to use this to really sculpt my brows upward, so that again it just creates more of that lifted effect. So really just trying to get all the brows with the product. I'll do the same thing on this side. Just brushing through. I'm gonna use my Dior Show mascara. This is the waterproof version. And just going to roll that really close to the base of the lash so that I get a lot of good thickness. And for my lower lashes, I'm doing the mascara like this, sweeping it outward with the rest of the makeup versus straight down like I usually do. Just so that they kind of go in that like outward motion without dragging the eye down. So for lip pencil, I'm going to do this one from Marc Jacobs. It's in the shade Nudist. And I'm gonna try to follow that like line of concealer versus going like right there. This is one of those like perfect nude lip pencils. And then I'm gonna use a clear gloss. This is Infallible Pro in, it's just the clear one. Oh, what's the shade? Crystal Clear. And then I'm gonna set all of this down. I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Just a light mist. And when I say light mist, it's like not that light, you know. But I feel like if I use a lot of setting spray, it actually works and it doesn't budge throughout the day. So I am generous with setting spray. All right, this is the finished look. I will zoom you in so you can see. We'll do before and after so you can see if we notice a difference. I'm going to say, if I look at you straight on like this, I'm looking in the viewfinder, that's why I'm looking over there. But if I look at you straight on like this, I don't necessarily know if I see all that much of a difference from this view of myself. However, from the side, I feel like there's a pretty noticeable difference. Like, I was gonna say huge, but I didn't wanna exaggerate, but I feel like there's a noticeable difference, especially from the side. I feel like the cheekbone looks a lot more raised. I actually surprisingly really like the way the contour turned out, putting it up that high. I thought that was gonna look bizarre, but in the end, it's like it all ended up working out, and I do think that the cheekbones look noticeably higher. The concealer around the mouth, I don't really know. Maybe. Again, that's like something that I'll judge in side by side, but I think I noticed the biggest difference in like this area of my face. I feel like you can see like some noticeable, like almost lifting right here. Overall, I actually really like the way this technique turned out though. I was not happy with not putting concealer right here though. Because you know I usually always do the triangle under the eye. It doesn't have to be full coverage or look cakey. I just normally really love the way that that looks, but I feel like you still even kind of get a similar effect to that because I have a lot of brightness right here from putting a line right there, even though I blended it more so like up my nose and everything. I'm not hating the way there's not a lot of like brightness under there. It almost like tones it down because sometimes even I go overboard with that. But I actually think everything turned out like really nice and harmonious at the end. I think I like it. I definitely think I would try this again. Have you tried the facelifting makeup technique? If you have, or you have products that you think work really well, or just like concealer placement, because that was something else I was noticing. When I was reading articles and watching other people's photos or diagrams, it is always slightly different. So I think where you place the concealer is going to be dependent on your face shape or the specific look that you're going for, but I just thought that the line down the side of the nose and then doing the lines up here and everything like that would work for me. But I'm gonna give this like 2 thumbs up. I actually really like it. I don't think it looks crazy heavy. I think it looks really nice and natural. Well, not natural, but you know what I mean. It doesn't look overdone. I would love to know your thoughts and where you place the concealer. So if you know, have a technique of placement that you think really makes a noticeable difference, let me know because I'd love to try it out. But overall, I'm gonna give this 2 thumbs up. I think it makes a noticeable, slightly lifted difference in the face. So if there are any other viral or not viral but makeup techniques that you want to see me test out, leave them in the comments down below. I actually had so much fun filming this. And yeah, come follow me on Instagram, and I'd love it so much if you would subscribe to my channel. But other than that, that's everything I wanted to mention for today. So I'll see you in my next video. I will list and link everything in the description box down below for you. Bye everyone.